Good morning, Edward.
Oh, good morning, sir. What are you doing here?
Well, I wanted to ask you something. How are you doing?
Doing? I mean, I'm fine. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Let me rephrase that. How has the workload been recently?
It's definitely picked up. I'm finding it hard to balance shunting, pulling trains, and being an occasional banker at Wellsworth.
Understandable. Listen, how would you like to work up at Wellsworth?
Wellsworth, sir?
Yes. You see, the yards have been getting jam-packed, and there's need for a constant banker there as well. I originally thought about getting a new engine to work there, but if you agree with it, you can work at Wellsworth, and the new engine could be a shunter here.
I think that'd be wonderful, sir. Do you want me to head there straight away?
Not yet. Finish shunting here, then in the afternoon you can head off to Wellsworth.
Right away, sir.
So Topham Hatt walked away. Edward was excited. He finally got to do something different rather than suffer with Henry, Gordon, and James. You can't do that!
It's what Sir Topham Hatt wants.
Forget that, what about what I want?
Gordon, we hardly ever say in that field.
Well, it's disgraceful. Who will shunt my coaches?
Until the new engine gets here, you three will have to manage on your own.
Absolutely not.
Well, it's what you'll have to do. Anyways, I'm off to Wellsworth. Farewell, Gordon.
Edward left the sheds, ready to start a new life at Wellsworth. In the evening, James and Henry had been informed of Edward's departure. Suffice to say, they were furious.
Why would Edward leave us here?
So Topham Hatt says he can go and he just up and leaves us without any regards for what we want.
Isn't he gonna find a new shunter?
I don't know, but it's preposterous leaving us.
Look, whatever Edward's motivations were doesn't matter. We are now stuck without a shunter, which poses a bigger problem than you two think.
Go on, enlighten us.
Gordon and I are much too big to fit in some of the tight corners. James, you might be able to, but that would conflict with the schedule of your own trains.
So we're supposed to suffer until then?
Unless you have money for a shunter, then we're stuck without one.
Well, that's disgraceful. Come on, you could have added on to that.
Added what?
I don't know, but it doesn't sound as good as if I say it on my own.
What do you want us to say?
I don't know, something that adds flair to my... Oh, never mind. The three big engines finally quit arguing and went to sleep. The next morning, Gordon was up bright and early to take the express. Ah, what a wonderful day to pull the express. Come on, what are we waiting for, driver? Because you decided to turn around and show off to others, now we have to waste time trying to get you to turn around. Oh, the indignity. Gordon prepared to get turned around. Due to being close to the sea, it was rather windy. This, of course, made it hard for Gordon to get onto the turntable. Oh, come on! Gordon, quit messing about! I'm not! It's impossible to get on this thing! No, it's not. You're making it impossible! Now you listen here!
Gordon?
What?
Are you okay?
Of course I'm fine. Then why are you struggling to get onto a turntable? It's not that hard. Oh, don't you start, Henry. Nope, I'm not doing this. Come on, Gordon. What? No, wait! But it was too late. Gordon was forced to shunt and run the express tender first. The passengers thought it was a great joke. I say, look at this, an LNER A1 running tender first. Positively pathetic. Oh, the indignity. The guard blew his whistle and Gordon set off. Gordon was not only in disgrace, but restricted as well. He wasn't able to go as fast as usual, which meant the express was delayed, something that upset Thomas. Where is that galloping blue sausage? He'll be here any moment, Thomas. Annie, it's been 10 minutes. I can't sit around waiting for him. Those mainline engines are always causing trouble for the branch line. Come now, Thomas, is that fair? Yes! Yes, it is! About time. What's so funny? Oh, you'll see. Gordon, being both fussy and foolish, decided to stop at Elsbridge, further disregarding the schedules of his passengers. Hey look, it's a new tank engine. Oh, never mind, turn Gordon back to front. Flying tank engines, Gordon. That's a good engine. Take my advice. Scrap your tender and get yourself a nice bunker instead. It's not my fault I couldn't get fitted on the turntable. Oh dear, Gordon, how far you've fallen. At least I can fit on the turntable. I can run tender first, it's not that hard. And yet you're late. But maybe if you hadn't run off to run some worthless branch line. Worthless? For your information, my branch line is very important. Pah, branch lines are useless. Now if you'll excuse me, I have an express to pull. A really important train. Gordon foolishly decided to take off quickly. Oh dear. James arrived with a breakdown crane to get Gordon back on the line. My, Gordon, how did unintended first work out for you? Be quiet. It's just funny to see a grand express engine like yourself derailing on a passenger service. Listen, it was because I was facing tender first. It could happen to anyone. You'd best take care, little James. You might stick too. However, James disregarded all of Gordon's information and headed back to Knapford. When he returned, Henry was sitting in the sheds. What are you still doing here? Boiler ache. I'm not surprised. Where have you been anyway? Rescuing Gordon. Do I want to ask? Well, to start off... Whoa! James began spinning around like a record on the turntable. When he stopped, he was very dizzy. What happened? He became a record, that's what. It's quite funny. The world is still spinning. Well, if that's the case, you're not suitable to take a train. I'll do it for you. Wait, Henry, I haven't gotten off the turntable yet! You've got to be joking. Henry had been derailed and set off with his own train. In the evening, James and Henry sat in the sheds. Gordon watched them from a siding. Awful. Simply awful. I knew this would happen if we didn't have a shanter. But no, Sir Topham Hatt didn't want to listen to me and keep Thomas off that wasteland of a branch line. Well, Gordon, I hear he's sorting out something soon. Soon? I don't want something soon. I want a shanter now. Well, whining won't do anything, will it? Then what do you suggest? I don't know. Have you thought about bringing your feelings to Sir Topham Hatt's attention? No, but wait. Maybe I can bring this to his attention. And force his hand. How? A strike! You realise what you just said, right? That'd never work. Maybe not on my own. But what if I had a few engines to help me out? Good evening, you two. Good evening, Gordon. What do you want? Well, I just wanted to ask you two something.
What exactly?
Well, how have you found life without Thomas?
Why is that relevant?
Come now, I'm just curious. Now tell me, how has it been?
Well, a time waster. Shunting is just wasting my time. Plus, it causes accidents similar to what I had today.
I see. Well, what about you, James?
Well, Edward told me.
No, James. Forget what Edward told you. How do you feel about it?
Well, it can be a bit tiresome at times, but...
Exactly my point. We lack a shunter and it's become tiresome and troublesome. Plus, think of all we suffered today. If Thomas hadn't left, James wouldn't have been spun around like a top, you wouldn't have derailed, Henry, and I wouldn't have had to pull the express backwards.
I guess you're right. For once, Gordon, you're making sense.
Now, one more question. What do you want? What are your desires?
Well, I'd like to not be subjected to those despicable forms of punishment, or be disrespected publicly.
Excellent. And you, James?
Well, I'd like a chance to pull the express more often.
I see. Well, now that you've communicated your feelings to me, you have to communicate them to Sir Topham Hatt.
And how do we do that?
Simple. We go on strike. Yes, think about it. We're the three most important engines on the island.
Gordon, you realize how bad that sounds, right? If we go on strike, then no one can pull the express, and everyone will go to the roads for services.
Well then, that'll motivate Sir Topham Hatt to get a shunter. Besides, we'll have him right where we want him, and he'll have to give in to our demands. Now, are you two with me?
It does sound enticing. I would like to see some change around here. Fine, I'll do it.
Excellent. And James?
Well, what about our jobs? What happens if it backfires?
It won't, James. Just stick with me and you won't go wrong. You'll get all that you desire.
Fine, I'll do it.
Excellent. Tomorrow, boys, we will go on strike.